Well, after finishing painting the bike and putting the normal lacquer on top, polyurethane is it? Lacquer. After a couple of days I went to the garage to fill up the petrol, and it was a new person on the pump, and they ended up spilling petrol all over the top of the tank, and that just munched straight into the lacquer that I'd put on, and it looked awful. So I've had to strip all that lacquer back, and fortunately I was able to do it without getting into the paintwork too much. And I thought, well, I saw on Lazada this 2K lacquer, which of course is impervious to petrol, so ideal. But I always thought that this, 2-pack or 2K, whatever they call it, you needed special equipment. But no, it comes, maybe you can't see too well in this light actually, let me get out the light a little bit, so that you can see. And there's a big red button on the bottom that you have to bash and hold down, and that releases the hardener into the mix, and then you shake it up and you've got the lacquer and the hardener together. Now, I'd never used it before, and it was a bit weird. It wasn't like a normal paint spray. It seemed to be a lot more cloudy, misty, so it wasn't easy to judge whether I'd put enough on, and I thought, well, I'm going to get runs. It's the first time I've tried it. So anyway, I put a light coat on, and then 15 minutes later went over with a heavier coat and left it, and yeah, I've got some runs. These are not runs, by the way, down here. These are part of the design. You can see where I had the runs because I've used some 600 grade just to cut it back, and a bit down there. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed. It does look deep and sumptuous, the lacquer. There are some places, again, like down there, you can see that lumpy and bumpy. I didn't give it enough lacquer. So I had it hanging up on bits of string from the roof of the tank when I did the first cover. But I've decided I've knocked up this little stand here so that I can be more effective with this second coat. Obviously I don't want to keep on screwing up and having to buy more and more of this, what do they call it, 2K, which was relatively expensive. It was about 3 or 4 times the cost of a normal paint spray, but if it's impervious to petrol, it's worth every penny. So that's my first experience with this 2K in a can. And yeah, I'm up for it. I'm not the best sprayer in the world, but despite that, there's not too many errors to make up for with the second coat. So I'm going to leave her for today because it's been raining here, so the humidity is very high, and it's about 27, 28 degrees C. But it's the humidity that screws up with lacquer in my past experience. It goes all cloudy. So I'm going to have to leave it for today, which is frustrating. But hopefully tomorrow or later in today, we might get some sunshine and dry the air up a bit, so I can give her her second coat and get her on the bike. I've also, there was enough in this one can, just out of interest, there was enough in this one can to do a thin coat and then a normal coat over the top on the tank, and also to do a thin coat and a thick coat over the this sort of side panel thing that I have that drops over the middle of the bike, and the seat goes on top here. So I was quite surprised with the amount that was in the tin too. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a win. Definitely worth a try if you've never used it before and you don't have the spraying facilities, which I haven't. Like, I'm out in the open, there's dust and everything. I've really got to time it right, usually sort of mid to late afternoon, and the sun's out and it's not windy and it's hot and there's not many cars coming up and down the road chucking dust about. But I'm up for this. definitely worth a try. Like I say, I'm not the best sprayer in the world, but I think I'm going to end up with a reasonable job, a job that I'll be happy with. Not perfect, of course, but that doesn't stop me trying to achieve it, but I'm not expecting it, because I'm not very good at this. But yeah, well impressed, and definitely worth a try. There's another one. I bought 2 cans from 2 different suppliers. I have no idea why, really, because I'm not going to mix them together just in case that's a nightmare. But I also got these, and again, this is 2K in a can. There's no, or there doesn't seem to be a button to press to mix the hardener, so maybe it's already, the hardener's already mixed in with the lacquer, and it's the when it hits the air it hardens. I don't know, that's what I'm assuming. But this other one, yes, definitely worth a try. I'm well happy. It's going to look nice.